Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. This is Elliot Wave Sage. Like always, this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education, entertainment purposes only. So here we are. So market is still topping out. That's kind of what we're seeing with a little bit of an extension trying to take place in this fifth wave. So as you could see, we did erase that divergence here to here, and you could see you have essentially one cycle here and then a new cycle in 3. So we're in this wave 3. It can go, as you know, it can extend, as you know, for significantly. It could end here and do something like this. We just don't know. I think the warning sign that you really need to pay attention to is when you get this 4. You can get this divergence to show this fifth wave. Until then, the market still should have more upside, it looks like, with this 4-5 on the SPY. So the 5 is extended, and again, this is kind of why Elliott Wave on its own isn't a very reliable system, because market can always extend, and a fifth wave could become a 1-2, and the market just could keep getting more crazy than you can imagine. So there's no way of knowing. So when you see these types of patterns play out, once we have a breakout confirmed, then you buy the pullback for the dip, because there's always a pullback. But right now we're still in the top end pattern, because on the higher time frames here, we still have bearish divergence here and here on the 4-hour, and then on the daily right here, the weekly here, and more importantly here to here to here. So as you can see, there's no reason to get too excited about this little rally Trump euphoria, where people really are just showing their enthusiasm for the election results by just throwing all caution to the wind and just buying stocks, without any rational thought in terms of the risk, because this is pretty much the highest area of risk that I've ever seen in the market for putting capital to work, with all the divergence on the 5, almost on every time frame we have, except for the 45 right now. As you could see, we took out this peak, so so we're extending this fifth wave. Now, if we can erase the 4-hour divergence, then we have a more significant breakout, and we have a 1-2 here. We'd have a 1-2, 1-2, and if we erase the 4-hour divergence, I would be looking for prices. Again, this is very robotic of me. I'm not trying to. I don't really care one way or the other. That would get us to 7. Probably because it would be a 3 of 3 and a 1-2, 1-2 setup. We'd probably hit 800 SPY. So that's what I'm saying, guys. You got to understand there is that moon boy scenario, but we got a lot more has to go right. But if it can keep pushing it, you will get that moon boy. It was a very low likelihood scenario, but still possible. So we have to understand that that's a possibility, where you have a 1-2, 1-2 setup, and then you essentially go crazy. With this type of price action would actually be exceeded. We would go even more euphoric given the count if that was the case. So, so I don't like the top pick. I don't like to just buy puts here. I don't like to buy the SQQ or the SPXS here, because you could be buying into Moonboy. You really want to wait for some confirmation, and then a rally, like you get this, like let's say you get a big drop, then you'd want to buy on that too, right? Once we get a big drop, we want to get that bounce. That's the time to go into your bear mode. If you're trying to top ticket here, it's probably a losing strategy, I would say. If we pull back, I don't want to buy the dip. I want to wait and then sell the bounce against the peak is kind of the trading strategy I would pursue. And then the triple Qs, Also here, again, a race and divergence, again, extending the fifth wave, and the count has to be a 1 2 1 2 with a 3 4 5 and then another 3 4 5. So it looks like we'll get some strength in technology, which probably means interest rates are going to go down, which makes sense given how strong rates have been rising. We need that counter trend, retrace that move, and that probably will help technology. The Dow Jones, the cyclical stocks, not that this is a little different chart here where you've got 1 2, and here looks like a 3, looks like a 4's trying to get going for 5. But then if you look at here on the 45, you do got that divergence, so it's possible that it's already peaked. It's already peaked here. And this trend line is a massive channel that it's peaking through. So we could see cyclical industrial weakness, maybe some tech strength, and a little more strength in IWM to finish out perhaps a major top in the market. So that's what I'm looking at right now in the market, and I don't like to chase any of it. I'm not going to try to top tick any of it. I'm just kind of watching for my setup, and the setup will come. I won't chase this though. I'm not going to chase any of it. Let it go to, let it go, because there'll be a better opportunity to go long like I showed you before. Just like take the SPY. Let's look at the monthly time frame. Really for long-term investors, the monthly time frame. And you can see we always get pullbacks. There's a pullback, there's a pullback, a pullback. We get pullbacks, right? We've talked about this before. It doesn't just go like this. You haven't seen that, right? We never seen that. It always goes in cycles, right? Now maybe it can go a little higher. Or what if maybe we even get Moon Boy, but there's always another cycle. There's always a back end to whatever this is going to be. Excuse me. And when that happens, when that happens, this cycle breaks, then you'll get opportunity to put long-term money to work with a much more favorable risk-reward setup. Right now, it could be the most dangerous setup to put new money to work. Okay, that's all I'm just saying. So but again, people want to chase it, and perhaps you'll get lucky. We get the Moon Boy, and it does something crazy like this. But like even when it got this crazy, we saw eventually it came back down. You got great trade-in opportunities. The indices essentially went sideways with a final crash at the COVID lows. So just kind of understand this bigger picture. And then on the quarterly chart, it's even more dire. Look at that. Well overdue for a pullback. Well overdue on the quarter. This is your generational bear market type. Again, I know a lot of people think it's just going to go like this forever, but it never does. This is coming. This will happen. This is going to happen again. This is going to happen again. That's going to happen again. Those cycles will return. And unfortunately, a lot of the easy money has already been made. And you're just too late to the party. You're too late to the party because the party got started in 2009 with all the money printing of quantitative easing. But it's not fair because a lot of people weren't trading back then. Now everybody's trading. You've got even the Federal Reserve is trading. You've got the president, Congress trade. Everybody's into stocks. It's like a cultural thing that signifies the top of the market. And unfortunately, the easy money's over, and now people are dumping their bags onto the people buying now. Like, look at how much Warren Buffett sold. Go Google your favorite billionaire. I guarantee you they're selling more stock than they're buying right now That's what we're seeing from the fundamental smart money community. They're actually dumping their stocks. Not all of them, but they're dumping a good chunk of them. They're not buying here. The only one buying in 2009, it seemed like, was Warren Buffett, helping bail out Bank of America and stuff. No one wanted to buy stocks back then. That's how these cycles work, guys. Just be careful out there. Treacherous environment for buy and hold investors, I think. Traders, not. It's a good environment. All right, let's go to your questions. I got everybody join, and let's go. Crypto is definitely breaking out. So again, I was leaning toward a breakout, not a big pullback. We had it in the back of our mind, but we kept pushing with the higher and higher. And now we're there. But now the question is, where are we in the cycle of crypto? And crypto it's like I said, some people believe it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that's the case, Bitcoin's peaked right here in a major cycle, and then will go into its 2-year bear market and then come out later. That if you believe in that, and a false breakout that traps a lot of bulls and it comes back down, probably back down to 46, 45. Now, look at the bigger picture. You could see, you don't really have a real. You have some wave 3 peaks here, but you have a lot of bearish divergence here. So this does signify like a 5th wave of some kind. So you could make that case, and you could see how you made the RSI a higher low here and here. So you could make the case for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You really could. But I don't prefer it. And here's another way of looking at it. On the weekly cycle, you could see we really corrected this whole thing here, and now we're done. So that supports the 1, 2, which is a Bitcoin doesn't look back and just goes, which really means you don't want to sell it. You don't want to sell it. You want to hold it, because if you get cute trying to trade in and out because I'm so smart and so good, you'll lose your position, and it will go stupid high. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I'll go to 120 and I'll just comfortably get out at 120. Guys, if it's breaking out like I'm showing, it's going past 120. It's going to go way past it. People are going to go, it's going to go stupid high. That's the cycle we're in. Like, it's going to be like 2017 all over again with big numbers that people that are eye-popping numbers. So if that's the count. So you don't want to trade, you don't want to sell it. I'm just saying, if you believe this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, you do not want to be like getting cute, like, oh, I'll just sell at 120 and get back in at 80 and wait for the retest of the brand. Like, screw that. You got to just hold through this, because it will get stupid crazy like we got back here. Because this was the 3 breakout of the last grand super cycle we had. Stupid crazy. These prices were unbelievable. 20,000. No one could believe that when we were trading in this consolidation area and had the breakout at 1,000. If someone said, "Oh yeah, in another 12 months would be at 19,000," they would think you're a fool, stupid, like you are crazy. If this pattern breaks out and it actually has the potential energy to take it, I think it could go 500, 600,000, probably even higher. I wouldn't be interested in selling it, honestly. So we need some confirmation though, because we need this daily cycle to take this peak out. I think once the daily cycle takes this peak out, as it's starting to do, then I think it's game on in crypto, and I think you got to buy any pullbacks aggressively. That's the way I look at it. Now, if you are buying here, you could be buying the 5th wave. So it's not all clear, but the bulls are taking control of the market. They're taking control of the market. The weekly does show that it is Moonboy scenario for Bitcoin. And I'm talking higher than 120. I don't know why everyone's thinking 120. Guys, this breakout will go way beyond 120. If you get out at 120, the market will leave you behind. You're gonna be so sad. That's how I feel. Again, I can be wrong, but that's how I feel. So this is where we are with Bitcoin. So now CLSK is all the same. These all are the same kind of trade. So if Bitcoin is in a fifth wave, then CLSK should have a big pullback about to happen, right? With a massive moon, or it's just gonna moon. So we don't know. So so this is how you're gonna have to do this analysis. So here we go. So we had the fifth wave up, we had the pullback, and so here's the question, right? If you look, it looks impulsive, right? Going down here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you had this little dip, but that's too insignificant to worry about. Here you have a nice no divergent pullback. Here you see you had a third wave, and if you had this, it looks like you had one cycle up. So I'm looking at, again, looking at this closely, it looks like to me you have a breakout, a 1, 2, and now you're in 1, another 1. Now it could pull back. If it does, I'd like to buy that against this low for the 3 of 3. If it doesn't do that, then you're too late. It's just gone. It's already gone, and you're just gonna. It's too late. You missed the move. And that's how I trade it. And you know, if it is 3 and then we do go up 3, I do show that's the Bitcoin. Now, if it's a flat, if Bitcoin's in a 5, then this would do a flat. This would do a flat, and it would do something like this, which would come down and do something like that to retest this area. But either way, by breaking this high, this structure should be supported. I think it should be supported here. And again, just looking at the cycle, because of where the cycle is, I mean, there is another way to label this swing. I could put the 1 there. I could put the 4 there. I could do something like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. So this is possible too, where you buy it back at 932. But I don't favor that. I don't favor it. I think I would just label it this way for now. But there's no trade setup. If you already bought it, you should just hold. You should just hold it. Why would you want to do anything else but hold it if you bought it in these areas that I showed? That's why it's colored, guys. That's why I had this colored in. This was like where you would buy it, right? This is where you would buy it. So if it wants to come back down here, I would just like to buy it again. That's what I would like to do. And if it doesn't, well, great. You've already should buy it. You've already bought it. It also looks like an inverse head and shoulders, right? And it's breaking out. And then there's the downtrend line. I think that's what we're coming up against. So that's why I think it could do something like this and then come out. It's possible. The market would give you a rare opportunity because typically it leaves the will leave you behind and not give you a chance. But if it does something like this, it may give you a chance to get in on it if it wants to do that. All right, thanks for the 5. I had to go through the Bitcoin analysis so all these make sense because I'm sure other people will have a crypto that they want to watch. All right, let's go to this Nibe stock here. Let's see what we got going on here. All right, there it is. All right, so this is a very bullish setup if it's correct. Now, see, we didn't break this high. It looks like 5 up though, right? So I have to go to the shorter time frame. So you don't have divergence there. It could be a corrective bounce. Let's go to 45. Same thing. So you have a corrective bounce here. So that's a warning sign that this structure could break down bearish because you have 3. 3. So you're in the middle of a you could be in the middle of a connector. You have no divergence on any of these peaks. And, you know, this looks like 2 cycles. I mean, there's a couple ways to label it. I would say you could label it this way, and then you could have something like, again, ABC. So I'm thinking of like, could this be a lead-in diagonal coming out? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then, but we didn't break this high. So let's look. It's clearly a new cycle higher. This is over. It's in an uptrend. The question is this the connector? If this is the connector and we break 4027, it's a waterfall sell-off. Like, you don't want to be anywhere near it. So I think I can't label it because there's too many possibilities. I would just say you got to trade it against 4050. It could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It could be a 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, trying to make 5, but with that, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I would stay, like, it's hard to label it, or it could be even a bigger lead-in diagonal coming out where it's ABC. Maybe that's the best way to label this, something like that. And then it will find support here at like 4574 right here. That's probably what I would do. Label it like this, and then get another ABC and get like a lead-in diagonal coming out of here. You know, maybe with some overlapping waves, right? Do something like this, and then it comes all the way back down again. So you have nothing to show for it for like 7 months, right? That's why it's a tough market to trade, because you'll hold the stock and have nothing to show for it. You hold calls, nothing to show for. So you have to trade. You buy, you sell, you buy, you sell, you buy, you sell, you buy, you sell. That's the type of market we're in. I feel like, and really that's how I traded the last 30 days, and it's been pretty profitable. Not as profitable as I was earlier in the year when the market was pretty much trending on everything, but for the most part, the way I had been trading is just kind of like buying at the right time and then just getting some good profit and selling it, and then just, okay, reload, sell it, reload, you know, just back and forth, and then it goes sideways and you're like, okay, your account balance is going up over time, which is really what you want. So that's what this, you know, something like this could play out. You know, a lot of these stocks that I'm looking at, from a bottom in and a top in process. Okay, CGC, pot stock. I'm not sure Trump's position on that, so I'm sure that's going to play into how it's moving right now. So I can't comment on that. You know, if he's more conservative or liberal on this type of thing. So again, we're looking for this 2-wave to come to an end. Here, let's look at the bigger picture. ABC, so we need an impulse down. You have your 5th wave. You have your cycle break. So yeah, so more than likely this is an important low right here at 385 that it's retesting right now. So Friday could have been a really good opportunity to go long with very little risk and massive reward. So that's possible. Now, what if we break this? Well, if we break this, then the count is not is gonna go lower, and then this is some kind of descendant triangle, a very dangerous bearish continuation pattern. So yeah, it's kind of like the moment of truth. So maybe Trump will whisper something about marijuana tomorrow, you know, and then this thing will take off, or he's like, yeah, we're not doing it, and it collapses. So I don't know where we are with it, but this is how I would look at it. right now. But I would say if it breaks this low, if I was trading it, and I would leave the trade based on my system if it broke that low right here, given that you already had the cycle reset on the bounce. Because this could become a 1-2, and then you get 3-3 waterfall sell-off. Okay, let's go to Baba and Sound. Thanks for the big super chat. How's the Hang Seng doing? I always like to go to the Hang Seng first. Yeah, I told you if Trump wins, you got to watch the Hang Seng, guys, because he's going to be hammering China. He's going to be now. He's got, if he's got all House and Senate behind him, this is in play. So if this is in play, you don't want to own anything, Baba. You don't want to own any of that shit. You don't want to own any of it if this is in play. And again, guys, I warned you about this pump and dump. I call it the billionaire pump and dump. And now it looks like we are going to get this swing down. So we should be coming down to this box. And that's the moment of truth for China, because either you're going to move from this box to this 26,000 area, and that will be some massive gains coming with dollar weakness on top of it, or it's going to just collapse through it like butter, and we're going to go down to these lower areas, breaking the October lows. Maybe the first indice to do that. Now, I do believe it's coming down here, though. So I believe if you're going to say, oh, what's Baba, what's PDD, all that, well, I think it's all lower because of this, because of the way this looks. That's my opinion. So you have some three-wave move coming to the downside. That's what it looks like to me. And then it's like we'll have to wait and see, because you have three waves. It could go up in 3 again. It could just bounce and fail again. This would be tough to call where we're going to go from here. All right, let's go to Baba and check it out. So Baba is I mentioned you really needed to watch that false breakout on Baba, and I believe we got that false breakout confirmed by the falling back in this pattern. Was we had this like kind of crazy look at inverse head and shoulders pattern. Oh, we broke out. Oh, it failed. Now with that failure, usually you get a big dump as the pattern as it fails. So here you have 3 and 3. So this looks like a big flat in the making. A big flat. Boom. Right back down to 65. That's what I'm thinking. Big flat. But I bet it holds this low because it has to hold this low. If it doesn't hold this low, then there's a lot of issues in the world markets. But I believe this is the pattern, and we'll have to see that. It could be we call an extended flat, so it doesn't have to come all the way back down to the low. We just need an impulse. So it looks like to me you've got 1, 2, and maybe another 1, 2 here, right? If I can do it right there. So you're going to have your 3 of 3 on Monday, which is, we'll be down to 85 or lower. Or you're still in wave 2 and you get this like A, B, C, and you get rejected at 104. But it's still, with the break on the low right here, it should have continuation lower. It should, but I can't be wrong. But this is the count I had. I've given the Baba update before. Wasn't chasing it. Didn't want to be part of this. And that was probably going to end up being the right decision. This is where I would be much more interested in buying it. Sound was another one I think I put on my Twitter. And it's been doing okay, but it's required patience. And that one's, I think, playing out okay. But we have to keep an eye on the Russell index, because once the Russell index hits the sell target, Sound could be at risk of downside. So Sound was a good setup, which I gave way back when it was breaking out earlier. I think it was somewhere around in this area. But let's take a look at the count. Looks like we've got a 1-2, 1-2 setup into a 3 of 3. We broke the high. It's just a perfect trade. I think you just sit back and get paid. I don't know how high it's going to go. Use your imagination, but I believe more upside is coming. And I wouldn't be surprised if it takes out this high. It should take out this high. If it takes out that high, the next target area would be the retest of 18. And then you would think there would be some resistance there as it forms a big cup and then probably form a bigger handle and out, but it doesn't have to do that. But that's what it looks like is happening and sounds. So it looks like to me, let's look at some of the RSIs and see how they're doing. You see how you're breaking out with higher highs, but you don't have that wave 3 yet. So that should tell me that it is, is this a wave 5? Well, this is the shortest wave, so it can't be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leading diagonal. It's too short, so it's got to be this more aggressive count. You can't call this a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with overlapping waves in the third wave with the 3. So this is the only count I can really think of. So I would, again, no reason to sell it and get cute. Just hold and get paid. And if you missed it, you missed it. And because it was down here was the time to buy it. And that's what I was saying about be long some things and short some things. Long some things, short some things. Right? Down here, there was time to be short, buying VIX and stuff, but there also was a lot of long opportunities. SYM's another one. I mean, I gave this one a long time. So I gave a lot of long opportunities. RXRX is starting to break out. So guys, I given these long opportunities. So it's like, it's not just short the market. If you're just short the market and that's all you're hearing, you're not listening to me properly. You're not listening to me properly. And I would suggest, you think about what I'm saying, because I'm telling you, go long, go short things. That's how you got to trade this top end market. All right, let's keep going. OSOL, let's take a look at that. Osprey Solana Trust. I saw some of these, I don't know if this is a Grayscale product. I saw some of them were really getting dumped. Maybe it's because they think ETFs are coming and that you won't need the premium anymore because Trump is favorable. So maybe that's the rationale. But we all knew not to, chase with the premium so high. So something like this is what I'm thinking. And you see I have a major low. There's your weekly cycle. I'll just be watching this trend line. Once you get that weekly to break, then the low is in confirmation. It could still go down, but it's getting close to the bottom. It may have already bottomed, looking at it, but you don't know for sure, 100% certain if it has. This is some kind of ABC correction with a big C leg down. See, no divergence there. So let's go to, we need to see a little bit of bullish divergence. You see, so I think you're still in C, but this is a 4 wave of C. That's what I think it is. So we'll try to label it. We'll just try to label it and see what we get. Right? Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. So it's probably like another 1, 2 here. 2, 3, 4. So there's a 3. So that's a big cycle reset right here with bullish divergence. So maybe it's a little different count here. Let's go to the daily. Let's look a little bit closer. And then your risk divergence again. So you probably want to put the 5th wave down here, but you only have 3 down. So I would think you're still in, that means you're probably in not an ABC correction. You're probably in a WXY correction. That the first the W was here, and there's your connector, real shallow. Somewhere like here and here. Something like that. And so now you need Y to finish in 3, erase divergence, which it did, and you don't want to see divergence. And so then the area I would be looking to see where it would be supported would be right around here, which is where it did. So it probably has bottomed here in a different structure, a WXY structure. And, you know, not pretty, but technically sound using my system. It is where the wave 4 is, right? So it did go deep enough. You did lose the wave 5. So it meets a lot of criteria for me. So I would just label it as a complete cycle here, given the count. I would say after, as long as it's above 517, it should continue higher as a new bull market is born in this thing. Okay. Then Rumble. Let's take a look. So we were looking for a 2 and then out. So we're probably still in this 2 wave, or maybe just coming out of it. Let's see where the count ended up. So we erased divergence here, so we extend it a little bit. So let's put the 3 there, the 4 there, and the 5 here. Let's just take another look at this real quick. So actually it's in 3 and 3 and 3, so it's a lead-in diagonal coming out like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably a tie between if 3 and 5 is the shortest. We'll just say it is 3 isn't the shortest, just for the sake of not making it too complicated. There's 3, a connector, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that would be the low, but we want to look for divergence. You see all that? That's not good. That's a little better on the weekly. So let's yeah, you definitely have a connector here. The question is, are you still in the connector or not? You're not. You're breaking out. But is the cycle finished, or are you... well, actually, you could still be in the connector like that. It's tough. This one's tough because you could easily say it truncated, but you could also got to be careful for something like this. Something like that, where it goes higher and then boom, down again. So I think I'm always more conservative in my counts, so I think I would do something like this, is what I'm thinking for now. But again, it's kind of like 50-50. I think it's higher, but the question is, will it fail, or is it going to just keep going? A break of this high will be confirmation for me that the 2 has been truncated. But I believe it will come back up to this area here, and then we'll see what happens with the market. But if it does drop, there could be a buy opportunity setting up. But because this should break out. This is bottom here. We're just in this final consolidation. So got to keep an eye on this one for a breakout. Okay, Lance, thanks again for the super chat. Yeah, try to do it at different times. Okay, Anonymous, good to see you again on our channel. Yeah, I'll take a look at your crypto for you. I appreciate the big super chat, like always. So a couple things about Indo I've been noticing. It really is trading with the price of oil. It hadn't done that for a while, but now the last, I would say, 30 days, it's really been tracking oil. So yeah, so given that, you have to go back to my oil forecast. Unfortunately, my oil forecast is lower. Okay? Now, this will put pressure. Again, if it's correlated, and it seems like it's doing that, if this means Indo will be under pressure, but then, Moon Boy. Yes, oil is coming up. Guys, take a snapshot of this screen. Because in 26 and 27, I don't want people saying I didn't call. I'm the only one telling you oil will be at $200 a barrel this decade. I think oil will be up in this area toward the end of the decade. And I think things like gold and silver and Bitcoin already kind of got that idea that inflation, that shit's coming back if it hasn't already. But before we get there, we got some capitulation and some like growth scare. And also Trump, you know, he wants to pump and get the price down. So I think people are getting panicky there. So given that, look, Indo could be under pressure. But if you have a longer time frame, it won't matter because it should recover nicely. But here's the. But again, I'll just show you the count. It's kind of like a GameStop. You can just let the count drive your decision. So it hit the buy area. We went up. It looks, you know, I can look at the bounce in like 3 waves, right? So if that's the case, it could take another swing lower in 2, go deeper to come back down here. It could, just given what I just showed you, where you have a W, X, Y, a double correction. Of course, it doesn't have to do that. I could be wrong, and it could be 2, it could be 1, 2, and come out. But clearly, it's bullish. It's just, again, traders are impatient. They want it to go up now, and it's just not. And the market will take the money from you. And you may have to be patient for quite a while as this meanders around, and it could bleed all the way back down, just like we saw it here. And then one day you wake up and it's up 50%. So I think this is not one that you're like, I want it to go, you know, double tomorrow, and I'm putting all my money. If you do that, you guys are being stupid about it. You have to just tuck this away in your piggy bank, and just one day you'll wake up and it's probably going to be way up here. But you're going to have to deal with this, trader wars, as people lose all their money because they want it to just go straight up. Should just go straight up, but it isn't. So I think you got some. I wouldn't be surprised if this low breaks and is under pressure and it tries to bleed itself down again, and then at some point come out of this. Okay, Intel. I was looking at Intel like it should be higher. You know, it should go higher. But then it's got some kind of catastrophe on the horizon where it needs a bailout. You know, they're actually talking that. I saw that floated on the internet. They're floating the idea that the government may have to bail out Intel. Bail out? Why are they floating that? What do they know we don't know? Why are they floating that? That's the first company we've heard the word bailout. They may need a government bailout because it's too big to fail. They said it's too important to fail, too big to fail. Oh shit, look, it's getting close to my area. Danger. Very close. Could this be the catalyst that collapses the industry? Could something go wrong in Intel, in the semiconductor industry? Is China going to take Taiwan one night? And I mean, what is going on? Yeah, the semis are interesting. So it's getting close to the end of the line here for this count. Now, there's still more upside though. I think there's still more upside. Just looking at it. Because you don't really have... Maybe you could say we're starting the wave 4 here. I think there's more upside. But there's no trade here. I wouldn't like want to sell it. I wouldn't want to buy it. I mean, it's just like... Now here, you could have bought it, but like this is just kind of interesting. But yeah, you have this gap. It may fill it, and then that's it. And then government bailout. I guess I don't know. Would Trump bail them out? Probably. Too big to fail. What would negate this? Now, the thing is, since it's a sea lake, it could actually go back all the way. Theoretically, if it does break, it could come back up here and fool you. So that's why I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to sell and go all short here. I wouldn't do that either. I'm just showing you my count, but it's not tradable. This isn't tradable. This is just a count that I draw, but it's not a tradable instrument that I trade in this situation. I'll just watch it out of curiosity. Like, if this count is right, holy crap. If it's wrong, okay, well, it'll go probably back up to 35, and then it'll crash. So, but it's not tradable. To me, it's not a tradable instrument. But people love to trade it for some reason. All right, Wolf. That one I haven't looked at in a little bit. So I'm interested to see how that one's doing. How that one pulled out of our curve. Let's see how that one's doing. Yeah, so Wolf did not get the double correction in crypto, right? So we didn't get it. So we just got this 5 down, 3. It's out. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. So we have 3, 3, 3. Higher time frame. So we have divergences across the board. You have one big cycle here, another one. So, but it's only three legs. Let's look at again. I want to get an idea if is it a 5 wave. So there we go. So this setup looks like leaded diagonal now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3 higher peak. 4, 5 bearish divergence. So let's just kind of clean it up, remove all the drawings, and just keep it real here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what it looks like to me. Now, if we take the divergence out, then it's 1, 2, 1, 2, moon, 3 of 3. Do we know? We don't know. If Bitcoin is in a wave 5, this is the count, right? And it goes all the way back down to here, $2 between the 4 and the 2. It almost always does. If Bitcoin isn't in a wave 5, then it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's doing something like this again. So I don't know. That's the problem with Elliott wave. So there's no real good trade set up here, but I would label it this way for now because of the divergences, and this is obviously this whole cycle has not reset like we saw here, but that will come, and when it does, then you'll get a big pullback, and then you could go long. The good thing is if we get a big pullback, now you know you can buy this instrument for more upside in the future. MicroStrategy again to me has let's see here, incomplete downside still, and I know it's hard for people to wrap their mind. This is the only stock that's telling me Bitcoin could be in a 5th wave that agrees with the count, because we broke this low. This low broke that low. So we're at a 5. It should be over any moment. Bearish divergence. The impulse is over. Boom. Boom. Down, somewhere down here. 120, 100. So if again, MicroStrategy always was the thing telling me not to get too bullish on Bitcoin. And it's still telling me that. Even though it's been very impressive connector wave, very impressive. But if we could take this peak out, then I'm a believer, because then it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, it's gone. And then that would be different too for the crypto community, because then if this is in a 1, 2, 1, 2, then MicroStrategy would be looking at $500, $600. God knows what the price of Bitcoin would be then. So we don't know. We don't know. I mean, place your bets. Do you bet it's a 5, or do you bet the divergence will erase? That's where we are. I wouldn't short it here. Again, there's no trade here. There's no trade. It's just, I'm just kind of watching it in curiosity and excitement, because either we're going to get a really crazy crash, and it'll be interesting to see what Sailor will do and all that, or it's going crazy high. I mean, I don't know. It's like it's in a very difficult area, but right now it's in a dangerous area because it could be a fifth wave, and if it's in a fifth wave here, that means this is a massive flat and it will reset down, just like I have it here. Okay, G Sol. Again, G Sol. See these big drops? Oh, it looks like it actually hit our buy area. I thought it would never get down there. Holy shit! It's in a buy. It's in a technical buy area. Let's take a look at it again, just from a technical standpoint, because we have a connector here. One, A, B, C. So it's actually a buy here. Let's look at the divergences. Oh yeah, it's probably it's a buy. I don't know if I would buy it. I'd have to check the premium on it before I bought it, because I'm not going to buy something with a stupid high premium either. It's just out of principle. But using my system, it's a buy. That's all. I personally won't buy it, but if you want to buy it, this using my system, this is where you would pull the trigger and you would have your stop. Probably, I wouldn't. That's too low. Maybe you would put it right here at under like 68. So it's still big risk. All right, and then BCHG. Same thing. I think they're breathing out premium because they're like, oh, Trump's just going to go crazy approving all these ETFs, and then you won't need to trade this anymore. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So very similar structure as we saw here. See here we erased divergence. Here you haven't. So I bet you have a little more downside. A little more downside. To me, you have more downside, just a little more downside here. Yeah, see, 659, this area. I would look for that. You see how it did this and erased it? You haven't done that here. If you did that, then that would be different, but you haven't. So I think there's more downside, just a little bit more, and then you could get this fifth wave. And if you're really lucky, it was some kind of 1, 2, 1, 2, or it could also be an ABC with a WXY. So many possibilities. But that's BCHG, LTCN. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like you have like a leading diagonal here. This one's different. So this RSI, you don't want it to go below this, and it hasn't. Just keep this intact. This one's in the buy area. Yeah, I'll label it this way. So good luck on that. MIGI. So you have your 3 here. There you go. So it looks like you're coming off this low here. That's 5 right there. So you could be in this correction here. Something like that. Something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Now it doesn't have to. It could be done like that, but I think that's probably the likely path for it. You got this gap, right? Maybe I'll fill it. All right, so then if they pull back, well, again, we don't correlate them to the price of Bitcoin. Unfortunately, it's never works like that. So I think what you would do is like if Bitcoin pulls back to 60, well, that's probably this pullback in C, right? And it'll probably pull back somewhere down here, and then BCHG, you know, if it goes to 60, it's probably coming back down to this here, right? Because then this would be corrective. It would just plummet down down to this area, right? You wouldn't get a fifth wave, so you would get a corrective structure. So that wouldn't be good. Or if you're really lucky, you could nail that. Maybe 595. Maybe I'd look for that. Yeah, maybe 595 if it could do that. And then because I think the structures will hold. I don't think any structure will collapse if Bitcoin goes to 60. And then Litecoin, if that happens, then this would have to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this would drop to somewhere like 1066 again. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. See, that's how you have to understand, but you can't like I wouldn't recommend trading like that. You just got to trade each one because look what happened today. Like some of these other like look Dow 27. It wasn't all like euphoria and people getting rich in crypto on Friday. Look, if you had GSOL, you lost 30% of your money. So that's why you got to trade what's out there. You can't just be like, oh, Bitcoin went up, so I'll buy everything crypto related. You can't because look, this thing got down 30%. Bitcoin wasn't down 30%. It wasn't even down on Friday, I think. It was up. So these Grayscale products may bleed back. Just keep it in mind. Back to net asset value. And if you don't know how to calculate that, you need to go do that because these are trading at super premiums. If I remember right, this is like paying. I think 1326 is like paying like $150 a Litecoin. That's what you're paying, I think, for this. Litecoin isn't $150 right now. So that's what I'm saying. You're paying a premium. Paying a premium. And if the market thinks Trump just is going to go ETF crazy, approve all these ETFs, then why would you want to own this? It's going to get a haircut. That's these things. That's what maybe is going on with the fundamental investor right now in some of these. Okay, the premium is coming out. All right, next question. You missed my first request. Let me see disclosure crypto. I'll look. I don't remember seeing anything. Oh yeah, it's 5. But the reason I skipped over you may be new to my channel, is I only look in if you it's $5 a super chat. I mean for each symbol. So if you want me to look into your symbols like I'm doing, you have to give $5 super chat. That's the way it is. It's just nothing's free in this world. It takes my time and effort and it's actually not that expensive given how many good setups I've given people. I'm not always right, but a lot of people on this channel, I think I made a lot of money. Like I think Donald made tons of money on Tesla if he traded it the way I did. Told him the other day. I think they did exactly what I told them they would do. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll get to Donald in a minute. Crisp. Okay, Crisp. Let's go to that. Did they reverse split or something, or what's going on here? All right, so yeah, it looks like we're just kind of off here. 1, 2, 3. So it had to been like some kind of let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, something like this. Let's zoom out. I have to just get my bearings on where this is. So A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4. I wonder if it, yeah, all that bullish divergence there. Yeah, you're still in the same cycle. Yeah, so I think I'll just label it, like we see it here. Something like that. So that force should be coming to an end pretty soon. That force should be coming to an end for more downside. What's interesting is we really haven't seen the 3 of 3 moment, which means it could drop, counter trend again, and then the big sell off. Something like that is what I'm thinking. All right. Okay, let's go to Donald, your question. Tesla. So Tesla was good. Tesla was good because it worked out, right? It worked out like we wanted it. Now we need to figure out where it's going, because now it's in a very interesting area, dangerous area too. So again, if you hadn't seen my live stream on the last Tesla update, I mentioned that we get a little more downside. We did. We got that downside, and then we would moon up into this area, and we got that. So here we are. So that trade plan worked out perfectly. Now, where do we go from here? Well, guess what? I have X here. So my account on Tesla, unfortunately, is not good. It's this. And there's some people I follow that have the same count. So if this is the count, this would be probably one of the best short opportunities you can get, right? If this is going to drive it down to $60. Why would it do that? Well, if the market's going to crash, I mean, it will do that. If oil's going to go down, because remember, EVs get killed when oil prices go down. That's what happens. No one buys them. No one wants to buy them. No one can afford them, and no one wants them because oil's cheap again. So the thing is, I still believe this is the count, but let's look at some RSIs and some divergences and see where we're at. So we have to go to the higher time frames for something this big as a connector. So you see how we haven't taken this peak out? So that actually tells me there's still more upside in the connector. So it's not like, oh, it's peaked today. It has actually more upside. So it could see 336, 340 still. So it's still got more upside. Let's look. Like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3, 4, 5. So it's got more upside. Yeah, definitely, because you haven't even taken this A peak out yet. So this can actually even be a 1, 2. So this is very interesting. So this could really push higher into this sell area. But it's a big sell area. Because it can even be this. Oops. Damn. Go back. But it could be this. Right? So I would just, you know, it's tough to say. If you were long in this area, I'd probably just hold it and just wait for like more convincing turn. I wouldn't try to like pick the top of this. But I think it's still got more upside. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to the 340 area. Let me see why I have that marked out there. What's driving that? Oh, horizontal support. Yeah, there should be sellers that enter the market in this area. It should be a tough area to get through from resistance standpoint. But there it is. I would say more upside, but then I call a bigger low. I don't because of the nature of these swings here. But if it's wrong, if this is wrong and this was a major bottom, then we would have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, and then a big pullback, and then you get the big vertical price action. So which one is it? We don't know. But what I do think is this should be sellers should be coming in to push this back down. And you may get a cycle like something like you saw here because you got this nice three waves. Nice three waves. Now it's over. Again, the move's over. People, if you missed the move is over. And if you followed me, you would have got in on the move. It's almost not fair because we just kind of got in at the very end and got most of the upside because we called this right there, that little dip right there, and we didn't fill the gap. Boom. Now I think you push higher, and I think somewhere, right, this is it. Yeah, how's Coinbase doing? Coinbase was another bullish. Again, we were predicting this. We said we had that pullback. We got it. Now we're in the wave 3. So Coinbase supports more upside. Right? 1, 2. Now, bigger picture. 1, 2. This could be an A, B, C. When this 3 is finished, you could get that. That would be like the Bitcoin flat. Bitcoin's is a wave 5 scenario. Would be this as this wave 3 finishes, which should be finishing up very soon. Or you get Bitcoin it's in a new cycle wave 3 higher, then it's this aggressive view and it's just gone. So it's tough to say. Looking at the RSIs, you don't really have a good way. It looks like to me you still want to push higher on the 4-hour. The daily broke out. So I think, again, more upside is probably likely. I wouldn't really want to sell this. Although you are in a wave, you could be in a wave 5. But this, I wouldn't want to sell it because either, so here's the thing, either you're finished, you're flat now, and you'll come all the way back down and Bitcoin crashes down and this, because it's in 5, or you've hit this 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. And then it's gone. So one or the other. All right, let's keep going. GETY. Getty Images. I didn't even know that was a stock. Whoa, 21%. Damn, what happened? Okay. Kind of like a go to zero stock. And it looks like it's starting its next leg lower. Just from the fractals, when that happens, it's usually always got more downside. It breaks the low. So I think it's pretty clear the direction's lower from this peak, and it's just getting started, right? You really only came up in 3, so you really are just in wave 1. Like you have to go to the 15-minute chart to even see where you may be on this. See? That's just wave 1. So I'd be looking for this bounce in 2. And perhaps it's another short area up and at 366. Somewhere actually here. 356, 353. So yeah, it's in a lot of trouble. Not sure what happened, but whatever with everyone, if it could happen, great. There it is right here. And there's the setup, 28, 27 ideally, or 26. There it is. Wave 4 cluster, right? You have 5 waves up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cycle's done. And a crash correction. If we get the crash correction, that I like to buy this for sure. That's how I look at it. Now, it could still be an X, right? And then it takes more time. But I think the area that I think it gets to is the wave 4 cluster here, 26. That's what I'm thinking. So stop loss on silver, well, it just depends where you bought it. Like, we've had silver, guys. We've been trading silver for like the last year on my channel. Like, we bought it here, pumped here, you know, and then there was another chance here. There was another buy here. So it depends where you bought it, but where is your stop loss? Like, for me, you know, if I don't have a position right now, I wouldn't buy it here. I wouldn't buy it here now because, again, it could still double up on X here. Now, if it did a short, let's say it did short, it goes higher, then it's probably just extending the 5th wave. But here, it's, if it wants to do the crash correction, then you buy it here. And, you know, usually the stop area would be based on, you know, where you define your risk. You know, maybe you put your stop at like 25. But it's not really, because it's a, you know, you don't really have that, you know, swing, that a clear third swing, because it's just kind of a crash correction. But that's the trade here. So it's, you buy it and you stop out around 25, I guess. That's probably what you do. Because again, it is correcting the whole thing. This whole thing. So theoretically it could go all the way back down to $18. Right? And a 1, 2, 1, 2. So we don't know. All right, gold, same thing. Gold hit its peak we had, but we erased divergence, so we pulled back. So looking for 25.65, stop at 24.75 for wave 4. So gold's in a different count, 5. This could also become a 1, 2 and extend. So there's some buy opportunities in the precious metals. Keep an eye on that. Coming. It could be coming soon. Okay, XRP, ADA, let's see here. Looks like we finally got this bottom in. Let's see, we only got down in 3, so let's just look at the count just to see. Yeah, up in 3, down in 3. All right, so we're just going to relabel it a little bit differently. Again, ultimately, we have it up here, right? How we get there has been in a very choppy area. Yeah, it's been a very choppy area. So something like this is what we have to expect. And as I mentioned, being in this area, it was really, you had to just hold through this. And that's what I kept saying. You just got to hold through this. You can't be like trying to figure, you just hold through, because eventually you will come out of it. All right, and then ADA, That one had a more bearish structure, I think, last I looked at it before Trump won. There, this is the one. So there you go. So this would be like Bitcoin's in a wave 5, right? If that happens. So if Bitcoin's in a wave 5, this will happen. If it isn't, then it just truncated in a very unusual correction, something like that. But it is 5 off the low, which is bullish. So let's look at how it bottomed. Yeah, I mean, I look at it, and I wouldn't be surprised if it pulls back like this for whatever reason. Maybe Bitcoin is in a wave 5. This is interesting because again, it just doesn't, typically the market doesn't bottom the way it does like this, but it can. I mean, nothing's perfect, and the system I use isn't flawless either. So, but I'll just label the chart this way, and but if once we take out this high, then I think it's safe to say that low, this is the low, and it's just off to the races. All right, GameStop is the next one. And again, that was one that just, the chart has just been kind of playing out, right? It's just kind of been patient. People are angry because it wasn't happening fast enough at me because it should be, but the chart's just slowly working out. Now we could have 5 up, so we know what that means. It could pull all the way back down to 21. Let's see, now we erase divergence, that's good. Yeah, so we'll take the more bullish count. Yeah. Looks like it's about to go vertical, guys. That's what it looks like to me, if this is the right count. There you go. I mean, if this is the count, the only other count that could be applicable is a corrective structure with a peak here. I'm just kind of staring at it to see if I can see something different. I just don't get it. I just don't see it. So I'll just label it this way. Again, I just let the chart do the talking. Just let the chart talk to me, and whether I believe it should do this or not, this is what the chart's been telling me since we've been trading it. I've given so many updates on this, but technically it's always held every single time, and it just keeps playing out. Interesting chart. Interesting chart. Okay. Floyd's Garage. Let's see. I use it. I'm trying to read all your comments from Floyd's Garage. Pretcher was talking about the grand super cycle from 29. If wave 1 equals wave 5 using a percentage, I calculate wave 5 should be 945 SPX. Does that sound right? That's the Moon Boy count. I think I've always said if the Moon Boy scenario happens where we're in a 1-2-1-2 setup off of the COVID low, that would get you to 1,000 SPY around there. So yeah, it's probably right target for that type of thing. Tesla hit, yeah, it did hit a target. And the cycles are finishing up fast. If it is finished, if it is right, because I can't be wrong. Yeah, so he thinks the 2009 low is the wave 5 of the grand super cycle. Now, I don't believe that's the case in my personal opinion, but if you do believe that's the wave 5, then that means when the grand super cycle ends, we'll go all the way back down to the 2009 lows and actually go below them for a little bit. Like you say, you'll always lose the 5, right? The wave 5 is always gone in the correction. So if you believe that, then we have a catastrophe coming to the world that no one, at a scale that no one can contemplate, that no one is unthinkable, that like, would be considered crazy, would be considered like, nightmarish, a nightmarish like scenario. It's like you might as well go out and party while you can, because the next 20 years will be like the worst humanity's seen, since God knows when, since the revolution, like since back when the world fell apart, you know, back then, back when Great Britain, the British Empire fell apart, and America revolted against them, and I mean, we would be talking like if we got down to those lows. The only scenario I can think of that would get us down there would be all-out nuclear war of like World War III, where there are nukes all over the place flying. That's the only thing I can contemplate, like, and think about in my mind. So when people throw out those targets, like, just ask them, like, why would the market do that? Like, what could you really, I mean, that would be like the end of the world. Like, there's no way you could get that kind of deflationary scenario without a cataclysmic catastrophe, like a catastrophe of biblical proportions. Like, it would be, the world as we know it would be different than we could ever imagine. The least of our worries would be trade in stocks, because there would be probably nowhere to trade. No one would have jobs to have money to go trade anything. It would be basically fend for your life, get food, get water, make sure your family didn't die that day, and that was a good day. You're not going to care about the stock market. I mean, that's what so when I read those people saying that shit, like, that's why I can't believe like that's a wave 5. I just don't think like we're on that brink of that kind of catastrophe, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too naive. Like, maybe the world is that much dangerous or something. But again, so that's why I don't believe it. I believe the 5th wave started at the COVID lows. That's why I believe that's why we'll go back to the COVID lows and maybe go below them a little bit. So that's my thinking on that. All right, let's keep going. That's fine. All right. I got GameStop. I got the Freud's Garage. Like a dries. I don't know if are you asking me a symbol or something, but I'll come back to you. I'll go to GoPro. Adam for GoPro. That was one that had a setup, and then it was lost like 6 months ago, right? I think like that setup. Now is that finally pumping now? GoPro. After all that time, do I even have it on here? I must have lost it. Let's see. So we had it in this 5th leg. So yeah, probably that 5 is finally over. You see that big capitulation there? Yeah, more than likely this is over. This cycle's over. Yeah, you can't even get a target. So this impulse looks over to me. You can see the breakout there. So yeah, it's either it found the low if it breaks this low, it's probably in a reverse split territory. So there's probably some kind of that looks too short to be the third wave. But so maybe it's ABC, so something like that, or even this. There's some options, or even that. So, but whatever it is, I think that's a major low, and it will build off of that from here on out. If it isn't, then this will be in a lot of trouble. It'll be penny stock territory for sure. One guy mentioned it. Yeah, bullish not going to happen. Yeah, the indices of the United States look very similar to the Nikkei did in the 80s bubble, which all comes to an end. We know that. So I got through all the super chats. I'll just kind of scan through comments. Philippines, yeah, that's nice. Cool. Yeah, I'm in Florida. Somewhat tropical, but not like the Philippines. I didn't get CNBC on Friday. I was too busy. There was it was interesting. Tommy Lee had, I think, a tweet or something about, he thought it was like a market top or something, and I've retweeted that. And then I heard he went on CNBC and basically like, oh, no, there's a lot of money on the sidelines and shit. No, it's good. So I think his handlers must have got to him and said, are you fucking crazy saying that? So I think he had to walk that back real quick. But, even people like, the most smart, even real smart money is like, this is a little out of hand and ridiculous. Isn't someone buying puts? This is what happened in 2017 as we topped out before Volmageddon. It's when you had the most bullish people even going, this is crazy, I'm buying puts. I'm starting to hear some of that now. Talk like that from some people. Not all. There's still a lot of uber bullish people out there, but there's some of these traders that are buy the dip guys are like, yeah, this is a little crazy. This is getting a little crazy. But 2017 was even crazier. So I don't think this is crazy. To me, on the upside, I wouldn't be I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if it does extend a little bit higher, which I have on my chart. But if we erase divergence, I mean, the momentum will keep carrying the market higher and squeezing higher. So that's why I don't want to top tick. Wait for opportunity. Yeah, I'd love to see that tweet. Yeah, just look. I retweeted him saying that. It's in there, unless he deleted it. Because to me, that was shocking. I'm like, if that dude is saying it's a top of the market, then holy shit, we got trouble, because he's got to be the Pied Piper of the fundamental investor, a bullish guy. He didn't tell anyone to sell in 2017, 2018. We went through all these corrections, all these drops. He was always buy. I never heard the man ever say I think it's a top, or we could be at a major top. I don't think those words. I've never heard. To me, that is significant. If the fundamental investor psyche is now like, yeah, this shit can't get any better than what that's huge, guys. Because the technical guys, we know it's way over. We're outside Bollinger Bands now. We're at a parabolic top. I mean, the technical guys know this is a top. But the fundamental guys still are drinking the Kool-Aid, but now they're starting to come along that maybe this is a little ridiculous. The P ratios are way out of hand and stuff. But yeah, it's crazy. When I read that, I couldn't believe it. So, all right, I went through a lot super chats, guys. We could look at the market. So I think the market's in a topping process. Some people I follow believe it's already topped, have claimed the top confidently. I'll never do that. Now, they could be right, but I definitely don't want to put like long-term investment money to work in this market right now. Like trade-in money, yeah, sure, trade it, buy, sell, setups, in and out, no big deal. But there'll be better opportunities for long-term investment in the general indexes later, some point later, not today. the best trade opportunity coming up to me is in gold and silver on this pullback. If this happens to me, this is probably a really good trade opportunity for at least, even if it's going to collapse. Let's say it's going to collapse, you'll get a good bounce, you know, a tradable bounce. You should here. I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but I do like this setup, and the miners would probably have the same setup. So that's a good opportunity. That's a good opportunity that I can see. And then Bitcoin is kind of like a wild card. What we're gonna get? Are we getting a fifth wave dump, or is it, you know, off to the races and that's it? So we just so crypto, we're gonna get I think decisiveness soon, and I do believe you know, the market is topping. You know, and it could top very soon. And then the VIX is also showing that the market could be close. Like if I put the 5 there, that means the market probably has topped already. But if the 5 can extend a little further down, you know, our account could be off a little bit. So we're getting close to the end here. All right, guys, that's all I got. Talk to you later. Good luck trading, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.